One of the weirder pearl balls that I've ever thrown is releasing this week, and here's everything you need to know about the Roto Gremlin before you decide to pick one up yourself. Welcome to one of the first ball reviews for the ZVL Bowling channel. We were able to luckily get our hands on a Gremlin just a little bit early, so I'm able to speed out this ball review for it, where we threw it on a burnt up house shot. This was a house shot with a lot of plastic being thrown down the middle and on the side. So you see a little bit of weirder reaction because there's carry down, but that really showcases a little bit what this ball will be good and bad for. If you enjoy these kinds of videos and you want more ball reviews in this format, please let me know, and then make sure to subscribe or like the video. If you guys show a lot of support on these, I'll try to get more of these out and try to weasel a way to get some bowling balls a little bit early. Well, let's get into what the Gremlin is. The Gremlin is an asymmetrical pearl bowling ball that has the core of the Rubicon series. It's a little bit stronger, it has a little higher differential, but it is called the Rondeur Maxed Core, which is the Rondeur core was in the Rubicon, so it's very, very similar. For the number nerds out there, it's a 2.50 RG, an 0.58 differential, and an 0.10 intermediate differential in 15 pounds. The numbers change quite a bit between 14, 15, and 16. 14-pound version, way weaker. 15-pound version, also, or 16-pound version, a little bit weaker than the 15. But then the cover is something that we know nothing about. It's a VR1 cover stock. Rotogrip has never talked about this one and gives us next to no information. But after throwing the ball, this is a very clean cover stock. This ball is a little more core dominant compared to cover dominant, which is something very good to know. That's exactly how this ball's predecessor and what it really mimics, which is the Rubicon UC2, is also all about. So like I said at the beginning, this is a really interesting pearl ball. The reason is a lot of pearl balls like this are going to want to hook a little bit earlier because of that strong core, but be very angular. Or if they're a little bit weaker with those weaker cover stocks, they get much further down lane, but also are very angular. This ball really isn't. This is going to sound a little bit weird, but this ball is very smooth when it sees its break point, but it's also directional. Those words usually don't coincide. Usually a ball's directional or smooth. The reason I say that is this ball, when it sees friction, it wants to hook. It wants to hook fairly quickly when it gets to that point of the lane, which you're going to see in the videos below. However, it's still very rolly and tumbly once it sees it. It doesn't want to really round off of it. You're going to notice some clips later where I compare it to a Brunswick Vaporize in a couple of shots. The Vaporize is what I call a round ball reaction. This Gremlin, not as much. It wants to kind of hook and then set and kind of roll towards the pocket, which is kind of what that Rubicon series was notorious for. That Rubicon originally was supposed to be an idle with a weight hole back when weight holes were allowed. So that's what this ball kind of is supposed to be like. It's kind of supposed to be like an optimum idle pearl with a weaker cover stock, but that little bit of a stronger core, a little bit more of a rolly core. So in the video, I compare this ball to the Zen 25, the Attention Star, the 900 Global Origin, and the Brunswick Vaporize, as I mentioned. Going from easiest to hardest, this ball is way weaker than a 900 Global Origin. This isn't anywhere close. The Origin was probably like 5 to 6 boards stronger and wanted to play in the oil a lot more, but also was a lot smoother. Then going down the list, I had the Attention Star hooking a bit earlier than it and being a little more forward rolling. That's what that Attention Star was good at, where it wanted to get further down lane than a lot of other balls, but it was still an asymmetrical big core bowling ball. So it did still pick up in the friction and then round off of it pretty well. Zen 25 was next. This ball is just a little bit weaker in my opinion than the Attention Star. I know you can kind of intertwine them or put them back and forth a little bit depending on how strong or weak your Attention Star is drilled. But I had that Zen 25 very similar to my Attention Star, just a very different down lane reaction, a lot smoother, a lot rounder, and the Zen doesn't like to play angle as much as the Star in my opinion. Then after all of those comes the Vaporize and the Gremlin. The Vaporize and the Gremlin hook in very similar parts of the lane. They're drilled very, very similarly. I believe the Gremlin is just a little bit weaker on the pin distance. But the Vaporize seems to want to hook in the similar spot, but be more round. So it wants to round off that friction better to be a more consistent reaction or a more predictable reaction than this Gremlin. The Gremlin, there were times where it didn't know if it wanted to hook. So really what I noticed with the Gremlin is that it doesn't like oil a crazy amount. Like if I got that ball in the puddle in the middle of the oil, it was not seeing it in the slightest. The Vaporize acted like it wanted to read when it was in the oil a little bit. The other balls that I mentioned too wanted to act like they read it. This Gremlin, not even close. It was sailing. It was going to leave a 210 every single time. Now, like I said, I'm bowling on a burnt up house shot. There was some plastic carry down on it, so you're going to notice little spots of hang out there. So I think this showcases that the Gremlin is not best when there's a lot of carry down. Like if you're bowling on something where there's a ton of carry down and the ball can hit more oil down lane, it doesn't seem like it's going to be the best for that. Now, I did notice it's very susceptible to hand position changes. If you're up the back of it more, the ball really rounds off of it and acts more like that Vaporize, like a slightly sharper Vaporize. The minute you get around it and you spin it a little bit more, it does wildly different things. So it's not very forgiving with your hand position, something good to know. If you're somebody with a lot of axis rotation, this ball is going to be very different than somebody who's more up the back of it. I think people who are more up the back of it are going to like this ball a little bit better, but if you spin it a little bit more, this is going to be a very weak bowling ball for you. I have it in the middle of the medium and sharp category, probably the weakest asymmetrical pearl on the market today, especially with that mantra and theorem pearl close to being gone. But this one is just a very odd bowling ball. Now, something I should have prefaced is this is an unbiased review. I did not receive this ball from Storm Bowling. I'm not getting paid to do this review. This is all just from my own experience. Every ball review, everything you see on this channel is completely unbiased, so remember to keep that in mind. There's no one else behind the scenes pulling the strings or anything. This is one of the few non-staffer ball reviews that you're going to see of this bowling ball. Long story short, this is going to be a medium sharp ball that comes around where the phase AI is. I don't have a phase AI to test against it, but if you didn't like the phase, you like asymmetrical balls, I'd recommend this ball. If you like the Rubicon UC2, I recommend this ball. If you don't need something this clean, stay away from it. You don't need it. This is a very clean bowling ball, big core, weak cover. So if you don't like that kind of ball reaction, I would recommend avoiding this one and look for future releases. But otherwise, this ball releases very soon on Friday already. So if you're going to pick one up, let me know. It is only $165, so an okay price point. They didn't make it that $190, which is amazing. That's really good to hear. Shout out to Storm for that. So it is more of an affordable price for a ball of this strength. Otherwise, if you're skipping this one, let me know why. Otherwise, let me know down below what you think of these ball reviews, trying to make them a little short and sweet. But if you want to see more of these or less of these, please let me know down below. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the support. I will see you on the next one.